recently I've been getting a lot of questions on the topic of EMV. And so I want to answer two quick questions. First off, what is EMV? And number two, why is it important for a merchant to be able to accept EMV? And so first off, EMV is the name for the new technology in the new credit and debit cards. You may have seen the chip, and a lot of times you'll hear them called chip cards or something like that. And that chip is a more secure way for payments to be processed because of a couple reasons. First and foremost, it's virtually impossible to duplicate this card because of the unique transaction code that is placed on the card for every transaction. So every time this card is used in a terminal, the old transaction ID is wiped off, the new transaction ID is put on, and then if someone were to copy that card, they're going to have a card with an old transaction ID. So very, very cool technology, and works very well. It's been working in Europe for many years, and also in Canada, other parts of the world. And so the U.S. is really the last major Western group to adopt this technology. Number two, compliance is rather important for merchants because in October of this year, 2015, all of the banks are required to deploy EMV cards to their cardholders. And so everyone's going to have a chip card, and everybody's going to understand what a chip card is by this point. And so merchants will need to be able to accept these cards, or else the cultural norm won't be in your establishment. In other words, the old swipe will be different. It'll be now where they put the chip card in the terminal, and they know that it stays there for the remainder of the transaction. They know that that's a more secure transaction. But there's also another piece of this on the compliance side, and that is that it's important to be compliant because there's going to be a liability shift. Because the technology is better, the card brands, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, whomever, JCB, Carte Blanche, will not be taking on the liability for replacing these cards at the bank level anymore. And so any fees, fines, replacement costs, or anything like that for a fraudulent transaction that happens at your establishment will now be on you, whereas before, all of those things were guaranteed and underwritten by the card brands, and so they would be the one paying for any of those fees. And so how do you become compliant? It's rather easy to become compliant. It's really a hardware-software issue. If you're just using a desktop terminal where right now you're just swiping cards, punching in a number, and it has a printer in it, a lot of times you can do one of two things. Number one, you can replace the pin pad or add a pin pad that's EMV compliant, or two, you can just replace the terminal altogether. Another option here, if you have software, say you're a restaurant or a retail shop and you're using point-of-sale software, a lot of times it's a software upgrade that's required. That software upgrade can sometimes be costly, but it really depends on the software manufacturer and whether or not they've made the integration software ready and available at this point. And when that becomes available, they'll be publicizing it to you and whatnot, I'm sure. But once they do that, you'll also need either a new card swiper that accepts EMV, or a pin pad to attach to whatever hardware that you're using that also accepts EMV. And so that's really the long and short of EMV. It is important because it is a new technology. It is safer. It is a better technology, and it is going to help make our transactions safer as a whole and reduce card-present fraud throughout the U.S. And so I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are excited about it. I know that sometimes it just feels like it's another thing that is being put on you as a merchant that you are required to do. But this is a good one and will help consumer fraud, and will help you in the end because you won't be receiving too many chargebacks. You won't have to deal with some of the things you've had to deal with in the past if you become compliant and whatnot. So if you have any questions, you can go to our website. It's precisionpaymentsinc.com. It's precisionpayments with an S, inc.com. And go to the contact us, ask a question. Just use this video and say, hey, I saw your video and I just wanted to ask you a question about EMV or how to become compliant and whatnot. And we'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have about your specific circumstance. And so thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.